Hello. Right, I'm doing it early because it's gonna be so hot today. So I thought I'd just get it all done. Also, Miles was up at 4:45. It's just too warm. I cannot wait for tomorrow because tomorrow it's like meant to be cool again. Like the high 71 or something. And I cannot wait. Hi, Hannah. Good morning. It's almost like my old 10 o'clock time, isn't it? Okay, so today what we're going to do is the satin stitch. And we're going to do a little bit of angled satin stitch or 3/4 satin stitch as well. So we'll just get right started. Jump right in. I'm going to use this, I found it in my bag of random threads, but it's a really nice, corally, orangish pink color. I think it'll be nice. And we've got 3 strands. What we're going to do with this is use this color and the satin stitch or angled satin stitch or 3/4 satin stitch, whatever you want to call it, for these here. I think there's just 2. Those 2. So bothers me that there's only 2 of those. Okay. So I'm just separating my threads. I'll do my needle and then we can get going. Since Miles got a tooth at the weekend, he's been so cranky. I don't know if the other one is coming, like the other bottom one, because they often come together or quite soon in each other, if you know what I mean. Or what, but he does not want to be put down today. I've done something to my arm. I don't know what it is. Complain. Hannah says it's going to be 38 degrees Celsius here today. Yeah, it's going to be the same here as well, which is like 100 degrees. It's so hot. So that's why I thought I'll just jump on and get it done because we just need to chill. Okay, so what we're going to do here is do these here. Let's zoom in. For these, I'm going to draw some guidelines on, but it's more to explain the angled satin stitch or the 3/4 satin stitch. So I like to start right down the middle. So we're going to do 1 long stitch right down the middle. And if you see the shape of these petals, they're bigger at the top, they're wider at the top, and they're more slim as they attach to the middle part. So what is going to happen is I'm going to make all of these here kind of fill in the space at the top, but then also be thinner at the bottom, skinnier at the bottom, not as wide as at the bottom. So in order to do that, we're going to make some stitches go from all the way to the top here, all the way to the bottom, and some stitches only go 3/4 of the way. Or be angled in. So the next 2, one on each side, will kind of just go until about there. So what happens is that this right here is going to fill up the top, but then it's going to give you a lot of space down here to put more stitches down. And a lot of times what will happen is that when you put them all the way down here, so we could go 1 down the middle and then 1 down each side and make it go through the same hole. Okay, but what happens is that this right here gets really congested and it makes it so that you actually don't have a lot of space in your fabric. So imagine your needle is going through the threads of your fabric. And when that happens, you're actually pushing the threads apart to get your needle and your thread to go in. Okay, and then when you keep pushing them apart, farther and farther apart, it makes the fibers on either side of that hole tighter and tighter together. So you actually can't put any more stitches down there. So by doing it this way, you're going to leave extra space. So it's really easy to put your needle through, but you're going to fill up the top here as well. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's get started. Okay, how do you film so it's not blurry? So I've got a little phone holder type situation. So it holds the phone in one place. That's it. I just zoom in. And also love Miles. He's so cute. Has he tried banana? We haven't tried any fruits yet because we're trying to do like some vegetables that aren't sweet so that he can get some other tastes before we try like really, really yummy sweet things. So maybe he'll also like things that aren't fruit, basically. Okay, so we've got one down the middle. So we're going to do, I like to go down the middle first. Some people will just jump right in and go from the side, but I like doing the middle because it really sets you up to have like a nice symmetrical petal, but then also it really manages the space down here really well. Because as I was talking about before, sometimes you run out of space to put your stitches. So I like to do it in the middle first. So let's go right next to it. We've got 3 strands. Okay, and this one here isn't going to go down all the way. It's just going to go 3/4 of the way-ish. I didn't pull that through all the way. There we go. Now, again, some people like to do one half of the leaf and go back and do the other half. Some people will do one down the middle and then 1 stitch on each side and then kind of manage the shape of it, meaning I didn't make all of these exactly the same. So some might have a little bit more on the left or a little bit more on the right or whatever. You know, maybe one's a little bit rounded corner and one's a little bit more like squared off. So as I always say, if you would like to fix the shape of the petals, then of course you can, but do that before you get started stitching, because oftentimes once you get started stitching, you're done. You just kind of zone out, you get into the zone and you're like, oh, I'm just going to fill this in. And then you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, that's a really bad shape. Why did I draw it like that? Happens to me all the time. All the time. So if you are like, I'm not so sure about the shapes of these petals here, Tori, then just make them the nice shape you want. That can be more like a bubble at the top, or it could be more squared off at the top, whichever that you like. So these ones on each side that I'm going to do next are going to go all the way back down where we put down the very first one. So it can be through the same hole or just right next to it. It's up to you. And what happens is that hides, ooh, I put it a little too far over. Don't like that. But what happens is it hides those 3/4 stitches so you can't see them. So it looks like it's nice and smooth, but actually you've kind of hidden some in there. Okay. There's Jessie pretending that she needs to go out just so that she can go and lay by the fence where the chickens are. Yeah? The other thing that you can do when you're all done, but I'll show you now, is you can take your needle and just go like this. Almost like combing it, and it will like blend them all together. Okay, back to this side. This one here is going to be 3/4. Sometimes I'll tuck them in a little bit as well. If you saw, I just kind of like pulled it over to the side a little bit and then shoved it down. Also okay. Oops, I got the brick. So what this is doing is giving us like a starburst effect. So normally when we do satin stitch, I'll show you on a different petal. Normally when we do satin stitch, we make all of our stitches parallel to each other, which means that they're going to be like this and they're never going to cross. So you're not going to have any, the way that we're doing it now, that are on an angle, that kind of all go down really skinny in the center and then fan out on the edge. Normally we do it like this, a regular satin stitch. So all of them would be like this. Okay? So it's like all parallel lines. What I'm doing is having one, central point like this, and then fanning them all out. So it looks like all of the stitches are coming from the middle of your flower. Now, this is going to be another one of those. You're going to get annoyed with me, but if you like the look of the regular satin stitch, then just do that. It's totally fine. If you think, I can't do the fanned satin stitch, or I can't do the angled or 3/4 satin stitch, whatever you want to call it. If you just think, I just can't get the hang of it, it might never look good. One, I would say practice. give it a go and try, because you never know. You might just nail it this time, okay? Or just do a different stitch. If you already know that you hate it and you find that it's giving you some anxiety or some troubles or anything as you're doing this, you're like, I've tried it, I know I don't like it, then just do something else. That's totally fine. You can do the regular satin stitch. Now, if you don't like any of the satin stitches, then you just need to practice the satin stitch, because we use it a lot. We use it a lot in embroidery. And there is a reason for it. It's because it's such a great stitch to fill things in. And it's really great to add some like designs or outlines or details over the top of. So now I'm just doing a couple little extra ones to fill in the shape, to make sure I keep that outside edge shape. I feel like I need one more on this side and then we're all done. Well, you have to do all the other petals, but we're all done with this petal. Okay, so your stitches will get shorter on the edges because we want that nice round shape. I'm just following whatever I drew, which is why, like I said, if you if you draw it wonky, you're going to stitch it wonky. So if you want to change the shape of any of them, do it before you get started, because oftentimes I just zone out and I just think, oh, I'm just going to fill this in. It's going to be so lovely. Then I look at it later and I'm like, oh my God. Who made this pattern? You don't need to go out, Jessie. She's just looking at me like, please. Please let me out. She hasn't started nudging me yet, so I know it's not that serious. Sometimes here, I'll do half of it and do a couple stitches on each side, and then I'll go, oh, screw it, I'll just fill in that one whole side, and then I'll go back and do the other whole side. So find whatever flow works best for you, and do it that way. Now, someone messaged me when I first taught this, and they said, I tried the fan satin stitch, and I did one on each side, just like you did. So one down the middle, and then 3/4 on each side, then one down the middle and 3/4 on each side. And I continued that pattern for the whole petal, and it didn't work out. And the reason it didn't work out is because it's not a pattern like that. You're going to get to a point where the one down the middle and kind of 3/4 on each side will work. And then you'll get to a point where you have more petal left to fill in. So what I like to do is you got to feel it out. As you're filling it, you'll find, oh, actually, I need to go 3/4 of the way because there's way more space at the top than there is at the bottom. Or you'll be filling it in and you'll think, oh, actually, this one can go all the way down because it almost looks like, I need to fill in the bottom as well. So hopefully that's making sense. Hopefully you're like, I get it. I understand. Now this right here is also, I keep saying now. Now this is so annoying. You just realize when you repeat something over and over and over, like it's totally fine. Or right. I was talking with Carol the other day and I was like, oh, I always say, okay. I'll be like walking around the kitchen and I'll be like, okay. And she's like, oh, she goes, for me, it's right. I always say right. She goes, and I can hear myself saying it. And I'm like, shut up. And it's so funny because it's so true. I always find myself going, okay. So I'll like do something and I'll be like, okay. And then I'm like, oh my God, enough. Just stop that. I forgot what I was going to say now, but. Oh, I know. This right here works if you would like a nice smooth flower. So if you like it a little bit more chunky, or if you want it like raised up off your fabric a little bit more, there's a couple things you can do. You can purposely stitch over top of other stitches. meaning you could use 3 strands, but maybe stitch, 2 or 3 times over the same thing, and that will make it a bit raised or humped up off the fabric. The other thing that you can do is you can slide your needle underneath your stitches like this and pull them up like that. Hi, George. You're going to slide it under all of them, not through your fabric, just slide it under, and that will kind of raise them up a little bit. You can also use more strands. So remember, the more strands that you use, the thicker your lines are going to be, and the more kind of textured or, I don't want to say like raised up, but that's what it is. The more you're going to get. So have a think about how you want them to look too, because just because it's wallpaper, well, it's meant to be wallpaper on the back wall, that doesn't mean that it has to be flat. You can still have some really nice textures and really fun little things there. So yeah, that's what I've got. That's what we're doing today. I don't know what I did to my arm, but it's like in my muscle somewhere. I don't know if it's how I'm holding Miles or what's the deal, but I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. Are we coping with the heat? How are we doing? I'm not. I feel like we didn't sleep hardly at all last night. Not fun. I told David last night, I was like, I think the first thing I'm going to do when I get to the lake is just jump in. So I might jump in with my clothes on because I'm so hot. We just keep saying it. I'm just so hot. Last night we got takeaway. We didn't want to cook anything. I think we might get takeaway again tonight. But also, it's that weird thing, because we're leaving on Friday, yeah? It's that weird thing of, like, we don't want to buy a lot of ingredients for things because we'd have to, like, give them to someone or get rid of them, So I don't want to throw stuff away. So we're kind of, like, buying, like, the smallest milk we can. We're like, oh, we're going to get through, like, a little pint? We'll just try it. And then if we need more, we'll just get, like, another little one, because we just don't want to get rid of stuff or waste it. So our fridge has, like, absolutely nothing in it. Jasmine is not okay. I'm also not okay, so I feel with that. Hannah says, I hate it. So glad I don't have to go out today. Yes. I've closed up the whole house. So this morning when we got up at 5, I had the window open last night. I closed the window because he woke up and he thought it was morning. So I closed the window and he went back to sleep for like 20 minutes. So I went and opened the window. Then he woke up again. And he was like, it is morning. It is bright. I was like, shnikey. So at 6 o'clock, I just gave in. Because I was like, I'm not going to, like, rock you back to sleep after each time. It just can't happen. So it is what it is. I think tonight I'm going to have to play the catch-up game a little bit just so I can see how much we have left. And then I can tell you tomorrow what's the deal with the rest of the lives. I've already spoken to my mom, and she said that she has the embroidery stand. She's going to bring it to the lake. So Maybe I can prop my phone up on some books or something. I'm always amazed by how far the thread goes. Yes. But remember, I also make mine extra super long. So that's kind of my fault too. And it depends if you do the thread saver method or not. For this other flower, I might show you the regular satin stitch just so you can see how it looks and how they look different. I think Miles is going to wake up in about 5 minutes because he's back on his 30-minute naps apparently. So I'll give it a go. Let me get the other half of it, move my hoop over, and I'll show you how a regular satin stitch will look as well. Oh, just a minute. Hello. Oh, thank you. Have a good day. Thought it was the mailman trying to shove something in. Okay, so this is how the fanned satin stitch looks. You see how all of the threads point into the middle? It's almost like there's a dot right in the center, and all of the threads are going to go to that dot. And then this one, let's see if we can't put it in sideways. This one will be just a regular satin stitch. Now, obviously, you can pick whichever one that you like. So if you like the angled one or the fanned one or whatever, then use that. But if you fancy this one, then you can do that too. What is that? Jesse's just seen something outside. I think it's just a leaf. It is a leaf. She's wild. Had to go put my glasses on to see what it was. Because I can't see. I can't see far away. Okay. I think it's just like a vine that someone's like repositioned. And she's just staring at it. And I was like, it's very bright green. Exotic. Okay. I find when I do the regular satin stitch, it's good to do the guidelines because I always try to do the angled one, even though I don't want to do the angled one. I always try and fit them in. Perfect. So this one will be just straight stitches. And I'll stitch as many as I can, really. I know you're hot, babe, but it's hotter outside. Okay. Okay. Let's go. So these ones are all going to be parallel. They're not going to be angled at all. Got the brick. They're going to be just right next to each other. Just sitting right next to each other. Like platonic friends. And this right here is where I always try and angle it in. Because your stitches will be shorter as you kind of go across on the edges here. Remember, we're filling in the shape. And they'll have a different look. So hopefully, don't get the knot. There we go. Hopefully, you'll be able to tell. This color is quite pretty. I wonder what it is. Yesterday I put in my stories that I was going to miss Jessie. Did I tell you about this already? Probably not. I put in my stories I'm going to miss Jessie. And I think some people thought that I was going to like give her away or like she was like dying or something. Because they were like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with her? And I was like, nothing. There's nothing wrong with her. And they were like, we'll miss seeing her smiley face. R.I.P. It's like, she's not ill. I don't know what you guys are talking about. So she's not sick. She's just going to be with my mother-in-law, Carol, whilst we're in America. So Carol lives by herself. And so she gets a nice little friend. A little friend in Jessie, a little companion. For the summer when we go to see my family in America. Oh, Hannah says that it could be Anchor 838. Do you know what? I'm still getting through all those threads from like 4 years ago that I never put the numbers on. And I feel like I need to take some time and just go through and match them all up and write the numbers on. I'm going to be away for 6 weeks. Yeah, Hannah says, how long are you going to be away? I'm going to be away for 6 weeks. So sometimes in the summer it's been 4 weeks or 5 weeks. Sometimes it's 6 weeks. We just happen to go for like the full, like the most amount of time that we could get off. Or that David could get off, sorry. So I'm hoping that when I get back, we can do a stitch along, maybe the greenhouse one that we didn't do for this one. And then I'm also hoping we're going to pack the advent calendars. So if you haven't got your advent calendar, you have until Friday. I've got a knot. I might just have to just let it live there because I really don't want to mess around with it. Yeah, pack the advent calendars, and then I'm hoping to do a little stitch along with Anchor as well, maybe. We'll see though. I need to still do the banner from the last advent calendar. That's okay. All the videos and stuff are still saved in the group, and the group will stay, like I'm not going to close that group or anything like that. It'll just stay open for the people who are in that group. And then this year we'll make a different group for it. I'm still trying to see if I can do something else, if you know what I mean. Just because I know, like, I just didn't really like the Facebook Lives, actually. But it's a really great way to share the files as well. So I know a lot of the Bitly links, they didn't work. So they don't work anymore. But, and again, I don't know why. I need to pay. I need to pay the money because they don't give out support for people who use free accounts. So that's annoying. But it's on my summer list of things to do. Oh, he's poked his little head up. We got 35 minutes today, guys. Wow. Record breaker. Maybe I'll go back to sleep. I made my first stitch too short, so I've had to make all the other ones a little bit shorter as well, so that it looks the same, you know? Just got one left. He hasn't decided. He just put his head back down. He's not making any noises. So I'm going to continue. This one's a bit wonky looking. That's okay though. Okay, last one. I'm getting a little bit nervous for flying on Friday, I'm not gonna lie. I think it's an 8-hour flight. But we're gonna have to leave, it leaves at 1 from London. So we're gonna have to get up, pack the car. Carol's gonna drive us to London. Then we have to wait and check in and all that kind of stuff. And then we have to get on the flight and get there. And then feeling a little bit like, oh man, I hope it goes okay. Hopefully people will be like, oh, he's cute. And then they'll be like, it's okay. When he's crying the whole time. Not a really great time to be having teeth, to be getting teeth. I've got some tips and tricks from some friends who have flown before, so that's good. Grateful for that. I hope that it saves. Last time when someone called, it didn't save. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But he really is cute. See, there's some people who hate babies on flights, and there's some people who love them. So I'm hoping that my flight, people are like, oh, yay, he's lovely. And they're not like, oh my God, kill me. Okay, let's make this a little knot. And wow, the back of this one is not as neat as the first one. Because I had a knot on the back, didn't I? Good morning. Good morning, Veronica. Okay. Oh, here we go. They're both in there now. Okay, so you can kind of see, with the exception of this nasty one that I made, you can kind of see how they look a little bit different. It's not a really big difference, but I can tell. This one right here, I've just filled in the shape with the satin stitch. That's a regular satin stitch. This is the second flower I did. The first flower I did is the fanned satin stitch or 3/4 satin stitch or angled satin stitch. People call it a lot of different things. I was just going to say, Hannah says, I feel like the bottom one looks smoother. I feel like it's a little bit more cohesive, whereas this one to me feels like almost like a coloring book kind of look, you know, where you kind of just fill in the shape, just fill it in however, where this one almost looks like you've put it almost like you're starting to thread paint or something, because that's the way like a petal would kind of look, you know, with the veins going out like that and stuff. Whichever way you choose though, it's totally up to you. It's totally fine. If I had to pick one, obviously I'd pick this one, but I think that they both are going to look good. It just depends. Just depends on what you like. Another thing is if you're just stressed out by this one, like I don't know what to do necessarily, I feel like, I don't know, give it a go. And if you still are feeling like, nope, then just fill it in with a regular, make them nice and parallel, work on having your stitches sit next to each other, not far apart, okay? And you'll be fine, you'll be grand. So don't worry about that. Knit Swift says if it's a 1 p.m., at least it's not overnight. And that's totally true. We're going to get there, I think, at 4 o'clock. Yeah. Or like 420-ish. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Okay, well, that's it from me. Let's zoom out and see what it looks like. And I've got to call Carol back. Oh, she's just joined. There we go. I'll call you in just a minute. All right, so that's all we did today, these two guys. You should also have done this leaf and this leaf from before, and then also this flower and this flower from yesterday. So we're getting there. We're almost done. Enjoy your day. Yeah, we just have to make it through today until tomorrow. And tomorrow it will be cooler. So I'm so excited. Enjoy, and I'll talk with you tomorrow. All right? Bye.